welcome again. Welcome into the television version of Strategies for Living. I'm marriage and family therapist David McMillan, and I'm delighted that you've tuned in. Join with me today here on Strategies for Living. Well, we're all about helping us live healthier, happier, more peaceful lives in our bodies, in our minds, in our spirits, in our relationships here in the 21st century. And we do that by engaging in important conversations with folks we like to call life strategists. Each and every time we do Strategies for Living, I've been looking forward to today's life strategist because he's a friend of mine, but he's also about helping us be healthy in our media here in the Shreveport-Bossier area. The publisher and editor of SB Magazine, and you make us proud, Mike Whited. Welcome to Strategies for Living as our life strategist. Thank you for coming.
I'm delighted to be here.
Well, you know, SB Magazine is a phenomenon. You know, media these days, it seems, is under siege. You know, we're television, radio, print media, all under siege, and yet here comes this wonderful publication, SB Magazine, representing our community and making us all proud. Tell us about SB. How did SB come to be the magazine it is today?
Well, actually, it was born in the late 20th century, David. Gordon May, who owned Mid-South Press, decided he wanted to do a community magazine, so he huddled with his son, Byron May. And in May of 2000, the first issue of SB Magazine was born.
It's been that long.
We'll celebrate
Time
our
flies,
15th year, our 15th
Wow.
anniversary in May 2015.
I remember the first few issues, and I remember going to SB Magazine, looking for an editor here, looking for an editor there. I think Teddy Allen even came by for a little while.
He was there for the first year.
Yeah.
Right. Teddy's a great man and
Good guy.
did a wonderful job for the magazine, really launched it perfectly.
Now, you spent a career, a lifetime, in traditional print media, right? Shreveport Times, you were an editor
I
down at
was
the
the
Times.
executive editor of the Times for 5 years.
And how did you make the jump from the newspaper business into SB Magazine?
Well, interestingly enough, I actually left the Times and went to do missionary work in Chicago.
Really?
And about 6 to 9 months later, I came back to Shreveport, and Teddy came to my home on his bicycle one afternoon and said, I'm going to go back to the newspaper to write a column, and why don't you become the editor of SB Magazine? And
Wow.
the next day, I became the editor of SB
The
Magazine.
next day, the rest is history. So
That's
that
right.
was how long ago, Mike?
Well, September the 10th, 2001
Wow.
was my first day at SB Magazine.
What is it like to put out? And it's a beautiful magazine. I guess the most stunning thing when one picks it up, if you have never seen it before, is the beautiful photography that is throughout the magazine. What's the most challenging part of putting out a monthly magazine?
Well, you know, it's interesting because you talk about strategies for life, and that does tell perfectly into how we think about SB Magazine, because it's all about focus, vision, and mission. And so we really try to focus on what is our mission, what is our vision.
What is the mission of SB Magazine? How does it fit in between the Times and Channel 3 and Keel Radio and all the other media outlets that are available to us here in the Shreveport-Bossier area?
Well, you know, when you ask about, you know, the challenge is staying on task. And that is so true in our life too, isn't it?
It really is.
We don't want to be schizophrenic, so we define our market as a
Sometimes I
monthly-
do hear voices, but that may be through here.
Well, so we're a monthly publication, so what is our niche? What can we bring to the market that no other publication has? And so that's kind of where we focus. Every year we go away for a retreat. So last July we went away and we planned out all of 2015. And so I can hand you a piece of paper today. Well, I could have handed you that piece of paper in September. Every story, every cover, every advertising niche, every circulation target, everything for SB Magazine 2015 is on a piece of paper. So we're ready to go, ready for 2015. And so that's the kind of focus we have.
Wow.
And I think that breeds success when you have that kind of focus. Now, when new things happen, that plan changes.
Sure.
Just as our
It's
life
fluid.
changes,
Yeah,
just as
sure.
our life changes on a daily basis, the magazine has to be fluid and change as well. So if we come up with better story ideas, different targets, we make those changes, but you can't start without a plan. And so we have a very solid plan that we believe in.
And tell me about the people that it takes. The magazine looks like it takes hundreds of people every month to put it together. I suspect that's probably not the case.
Well, that is such a compliment because there are 9 of us.
9 people put this
9 of us
magazine
to
out.
put out the
Wow.
magazine. We have 6 in sales, as you might imagine. We have a creative director who's responsible for putting it all together every
So
month.
what the magazine looks like, the layout,
Right.
the visuals of it. Okay.
Right. And then Devin White is the executive editor. What a talent she is, and what a pleasure it is to have her on
Devin,
board.
like you, spent a little time down at the Times.
She did,
Yeah.
yeah. And Sherry Moss, our sales director as well. And then we have a circulation person, a subscription person, and that's the staff. That's
Wow.
that's what we do. We have some freelance writers we work with that we are very fond of, but that's pretty much what we do every month.
What's the hardest part of, is it sometimes like fitting a puzzle together? You know what you want to do, okay, you've got a plan, maybe from last year's retreat, you knew what November's magazine maybe was going to tentatively be, but then October, the first rolls around and you have to begin to put the November issue together. Is it kind of like fitting a puzzle together to make all the pieces come
We
together?
do. It is. We've already started working on January.
Wow.
We're
That
just
far
about to-
ahead,
we're-
60
yeah.
days ahead or so?
Right.
Okay.
Right, we're already looking at January, February. We're just about to wrap up December. So that's how far in advance we work.
Now, one of the things that you are known for, and you brought the cover, this is the current issue, is
The
it not?
current issue.
And the Best of Awards. You've become known for the Best of Shreveport Awards. How did this start? How did this come to be?
Well, it's such a fun project to do. Actually, Teddy Allen did it in our magazine
Really?
the first time in early 2001. In
So it started literally with the start of SB Magazine then.
about a year in.
Wow.
So Teddy was the first one to do it, and then we've just kind of, it's been a tradition for us ever since.
It seems to me, Mike, that, and I go, when I visit several businesses around town, the businesses are proud. The plaques are up at this restaurant, this dry cleaner, this, I see the plaques, Best of SB Magazine.
Well, you know, the interesting part is it's not the staff that decides
Right.
what's the best of, it's our readers this is reader driven. And so anytime your customers believe that you're the best, what a tribute that is.
Amen.
And so that's why they really have clung to these awards.
Yeah, I was looking in here for Best Counselor, but I didn't see that category. I want to vote to add that.
Well, there's only really one great therapist in this
So
market.
I'm voting for George Walcott or Robert Muneer, right?
Well, actually, you know, we have so many good therapists in this market.
We really do.
Yeah,
we
we're
really
very
do.
blessed
So you
about
probably
that.
couldn't. You probably couldn't count that. 'Cause that would have to be a whole issue, right?
That would be, exactly.
What? So the readers vote each year. You put the word out. The readers vote. How many readers subscribe to SB Magazine? And I know it's sold at. I see it at Brookshire's. I see it at other locations, and I see it going off the shelf. So I know not only subscription sales are good, but do you call them counter sales? Counter sales are good.
In-store sales?
In-store sales, yeah.
Yeah, so we have about 4,500 subscribers. We're in 4,000 hotel rooms.
Wow.
We're in, like you said, Brookshire's, it's just a great place to be. Every Brookshire's in the market. And we are in doctors' waiting rooms all over the market. So we're very strategically placed.
Yeah, I had a doctor's appointment to, I won't say the orthopedic's name because I had to wait and wait and wait. And I looked around and there was SB Magazine, and I said, "Phew, okay, I'm okay now. I can spend a little time with," and so the time literally did fly by as I dove into this wonderful magazine. And I think that is the point that I'm not even sure I didn't call you from the doctor's office and say, "Mike, you got to come on Strategies for Living. You got to tell us about SB Magazine."
Well, certainly it's a business, and certainly we want to make a profit.
Sure.
But what I preach to the staff all the time is that this is our gift to the community, and we really look at it that way. So I don't look at it as a business as much as a gift to the community. We need as much information out in the public domain as we can get. Sometimes we educate, sometimes we entertain, sometimes we inform.
Right.
All of it is cogent and important to this market. And so we want to approach it as a gift more than a business.
You don't see yourself, or I sense that you don't see yourself as competing with, let's say, the Times or the Forum, or maybe you do for advertising dollars, but in terms of content, SB is, and you were just talking about that, it's very different. It's a very different product. You mentioned a few minutes ago the mission. How do you describe the mission of SB? How do you tell somebody what the mission is of this magazine?
Let me add something to when you talk about competing. I'll add two things. One is we want everyone to succeed.
Right.
In the market. That's,
we want the Times to be healthy. We want Channel 3 to be healthy. We want
everyone
to be healthy.
We want everyone to succeed.
Sure.
And we also very much respect every other media publication, television station, radio station in the marketplace. So we want to make sure we have a healthy respect for anyone else that's out there.
I think that's well said.
Yeah.
Well said.
I think that, for the mission, it's just what is not being done by anybody else. What can we do that's a little bit different? I was at a holiday party about a year ago, and a woman came up to me. She said, "I love your magazine. I can't wait to see the next issue because I don't know what you have coming next. It's such a surprise and such a joy." I told the staff that's the goal.
That's it.
When they can't wait to pick up the next issue because it's something new and different for them. That's the goal.
That's it. You got it. It's always new and different, folks. We're talking to Mike Whitehead today. He is the publisher and executive editor of SB Magazines. We'll come back and we'll talk to him about who is in the Best of Awards this issue, and maybe a little bit more as we learn today more about SB Magazine. Stay with us. More Strategies for Living and our life strategist, Mike Whitehead, to come.
One of my biggest passions in life is animals. That's why I've worked with Morris Animal Foundation for over 40 years. Morris Animal Foundation is a world leader in helping animals live longer, healthier lives. You can too. Just show your support at morrisanimalfoundation.org.
To help cats, dogs, horses, and wildlife live healthier lives, visit morrisanimalfoundation.org, where we are advancing science that will create a healthier tomorrow for animals.
Bossier Parish Community College, the fastest growing community college in the nation. Wonder why?
We at the Bossier Chamber of Commerce value our partnership with Bossier Parish Community College as an educator and a trainer for the local business industry. Together, we will help Northwest Louisiana grow.
And BIPSI's nursing program educates students for the workforce.
Our state-of-the-art lab has allowed us to get hands-on experience with real-life case studies. As a graduate, I was able to find a job right after graduation.
Check us out. You'll understand why.
I teach a wide variety of things, including film editing, directing, documentary making, lighting. I fell in love with art as a young child, and it's just always something that has stuck with me.
I love the whole process of going on set, going back into the editing room, telling a story. That's what I really love about film.
I got laid off from my job, and I figured this was the perfect opportunity to go to school to get a degree for it.
As a kid, I was really into geeky stuff. I couldn't think of anything else that I would rather do.
They really provide you with the equipment and the necessary tools in order to advance in a career, especially in communications field.
Well, one thing that really drew me to video production especially is it's just a way to reach people. And as someone who likes to communicate with other people, I felt that mass communication, especially broadcasting, was a tool that I could use.
You get some hands-on experience. They've got good stuff to work with. They really know what they're doing, and they're willing to pass it on.
When our students leave Bossier Parish Community College, they are equipped to get a job immediately, or they can move on to a 4-year degree.
Lead paint poisoning affects 1 million children today. If you're pregnant or have young children and your home was built before 1978, you could be at risk. Learn how to protect your family. To find your home's danger zones, the health effects, or just to find help, log on to leadfreekids.org.
And welcome back in. Welcome back into Strategies for Living, the television version. Of course, you're watching Strategies for Living today, but you know you can listen to Strategies for Living, and you can listen to us where we started. News Radio 710 Keel, Sunday mornings between 9:05 and 10. And you can also visit us at www.strategiesforliving.com. Today, our life strategist is the publisher and executive editor of SB Magazine, and he's Mike Whited. And look at here. I opened up, and here we're sitting at Bossier Parish Community College, and they advertise.
They're one of our good partners, David.
Yeah.
Right.
You call your advertisers partners.
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think that's an important thing, because many of the advertisers I try to pick up faithfully SB Magazine, and one of the things that jumps out at me is I see the same partners with you month after month after month. So that means you're getting results.
And that also means that if those businesses are doing well, then SB Magazine will do well. So
Absolutely.
we want to focus on the businesses doing well, and then we know that we'll do well. It's not about us just raking in the money. It's about our partners doing well.
You were mentioning coming together and planning, and all of the articles, it seems to me, really have they're different. They're different from the articles you would pick up in your newspaper, or whether it's your daily newspaper or your weekly newspaper. They're different from the stories that you would see on the radio. Does it take a lot of creativity, Mike, to come together and say, well, we need to do a story on this or on that?
Well, we do a couple of different things. We go to the community and ask them what they would like to read about. We also have an advisory panel that
I was
going to
ask you about that, because that's something that I think differentiates SB Magazine. You've had that advisory panel for some time, haven't you?
For quite a while. Well, yeah. I've been there almost 12 years now.
Yeah.
12 plus years, and so we've had that all along. And so that's a great way to do it. You also have to surround yourself with good folks.
I want to talk a little bit about your staff. We mentioned in the last segment the staff. We mentioned Devin. Tell me about some of the other folks that make up the SB Magazine family.
Well, we look for three things. We look for folks who are smart, who care, and will work hard. So I can make you a better writer. I can make you a better salesperson. But if you're smart and you care and you work hard, those are the great ingredients that will do well at SB Magazine and in life. Those are the ingredients in life that will do well.
You're a good life strategist there, Mike.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
And the other thing we do talk a lot about every month is respect for one another. Demand's probably a strong word, but I emphasize the need to treat each other as professionals and respect each other in the workplace. That doesn't mean we can't disagree. That doesn't mean we can't get into real tough discussions sometimes, but we can always treat each other with respect, and we can always be professionals.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that because, you know, in my work with couples, one of the things that I emphasize is, you know, you really need to listen to each other. You don't have to agree. Agreement is overrated, I tell them. You know, you don't have to agree with each other on everything, but do seek to listen and understand where your partner is coming from. And I sense that that's really what you're saying. That's what respect is, isn't it?
Well, when I was in college, I took a course on listening. Now that's quintessential 1960s academia, right?
Right.
But I took this course and it taught me how to be a good listener. And boy, has that paid dividends over all these years.
I bet. Is that one of the secrets of good reporting, good listening?
That and being curious. If you're a curious person, now we're representing the community when we do these interviews.
Right.
And so what questions would 100 people be asking if they were in the room? And so we want to make our very thorough list before we get there. We don't want to do it on the fly. We want to do a lot of research and be very cognizant of what we're asking. And so those good questions make for a good story. You can't be a good writer unless you're a good reporter.
Absolutely. This month, and it comes every November, right?
Well, last year we had it in August. We moved it to November to see if that would have more interest, and it has a lot more interest in November. So we're going to have it in November again in 2015.
So the best of, and man, there's 80, what did you tell me? 89 categories
winners
in here.
89 winners.
Wow.
Right.
So we've got everything in here from best chef, best Italian restaurant, best sushi, best car wash, best hair salon, best tanning salon, best physical therapist, best chiropractic care, best fine jeweler. Wow, you cover it all.
We do.
Are the categories hard? Have the categories evolved through the years, or have they much, for the most part, stayed the same?
We change the categories up every year. Now, there are some categories that are going to be the same.
Right.
Especially in the restaurant area.
Right.
But we always take a look at all those categories and we add and subtract every year.
Best public school, Caddo Magnet High School this year. Best private school, Loyola College Prep.
Right.
Wow. Best retirement community, the Oaks of Louisiana. So, I mean, it covers from best retirement community to best oil change, which is time at Lube.
It really mirrors our life.
Yeah.
It really does. And, you know, the most popular category is anything to do with a restaurant, because it's all about food for us in this market, right?
Yeah.
It's all about where are we having dinner this weekend.
Now, does the publisher and executive editor go out and sample do you get to go out and sample some of these good restaurants, Mike?
We sample all the good restaurants, but we always pay our way.
Okay.
That's a must.
Absolutely. Okay, now, 2015, you were telling us already planned out. I don't want you to tell us too much but tease us a little bit. What can we look forward to in SB Magazine? What kinds of things might be new and different to look forward to in 2015?
Well, this is exciting, and thank you so much for that question.
Yeah.
If you look at magazines across America, lifestyle magazines for communities, you'll see a lot of cover stories like we do. Best doctors or the best of SB.
Best lawyers. Yeah,
right. Those kind of cover stories are pretty traditional for lifestyle magazines.
Right.
But we're going to take a step back to move forward, and that is we're going to do more in-depth journalism in 2015.
Fantastic.
Because we have Devin White on staff now.
Right.
And because of her expertise, she and I, in combination, can do these more in-depth pieces that our readers are hungry for. So we're looking forward to that.
I got to watch Devin work firsthand. About 5 years ago, I added feedback, EEG neurofeedback to my practice. Devin was down at the Times, and she called me and said, you know, I think I want to do a story on this. I said, okay. And it really Devin really impressed me because when when we were talking, I said, you know, why don't you, if you really want to do a story that is that where you can really dive into it and talk about it firsthand, why don't you come over and get a neurofeedback session? And she said, oh, maybe. And she did. She came in, she got a session, and then wrote about it. And it was wonderful, a wonderful piece. It wasn't 100% totally complimentary, but for the most part, it was fair and it was balanced. And can you ask for anything more when it comes to reporting?
Well, you know, I don't really believe in objectivity because we talk in journalism, we talk a lot about objectivity.
Right.
I don't really believe in it because we all come to life with a set of good and bad things that have happened to us in our life.
And we need to hear all of
Well,
it.
we have stuff in our life, right?
We all have issues.
And so what we try to do is, can we be fair? Can we be fair? And that's really what we try to do at SB Magazine.
You are more than fair, Mike Whitehead, and I hope that people have gotten a good idea of SB Magazine. If you are watching us today and you haven't picked up SB Magazine lately, I would encourage you to go to your closest Brookshire's and pick one up. Better yet, subscribe.
We're running a $10 special right now, so
Can't beat it.
Merry Christmas.
There you go. SB Magazine, pick them up this month. Best of Awards. Mike Whitehead, thank you for coming and being our life strategist today on Strategies for Living.
Well, I respect you so much, David. Thank you for having me.
Folks, thank you. Don't forget about the radio version of Strategies for Living every Sunday morning on News Radio 710 Keel, and find us on the web, www.strategiesforliving.com. For Mike Whitehead, I'm marriage and family therapist David McMillan. I'll see you next time here on Strategies for Living.